computer, and here we go. So welcome everybody. My name is Danny Moss. I'm a professional development staff officer with Alberta Teachers Association. Joining me as well is Ken Haxtell from Alberta Regional PD Consortia. And thank you for joining us, Ken. How are things in your part of the province today?
Thanks, Danny. Yeah, things are okay down here. It's a little cloudy and cold, but we're doing all right down here. So looking forward to this.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And we're all working together in this province. Teachers are working together. The association's working to support you. We've got your school divisions have lots of support within providing great support for all of you. You know, the regional consortia around the province are working. We're all working together. We're all in this together, right? That's what everybody says, and it's true. So with that, let's dive into some great learning. All right, so we're here to learn about Google Slides and what it can do. So just very, very briefly, before we go much further, I'll show you some of the capabilities of Google Slides. Now, if you feel like opening up your own blank slides, it's totally up to you. I'll also be posting lots of links in the group chat that you can take a look at a bunch of free stuff here today, make copies as you will, and et cetera, and participate. But if you'd like to open up your own Google Slides, my favorite way to open up a brand new Google Slides is just by typing slides.new, slides.new, and that'll just open you up a brand new Google Slides, okay? And so that new Google Slides will open up, and it's a very easy way to get started. And so you as a teacher can create these multimedia sort of learning objects, or you can have kids working and interacting with them as well. So there's lots of great features in Google Slides, such as the ability to insert lots of content. I'll just highlight very quickly some of the features that I like. Then we'll dive into some of the free content, how to make copies of it, how to send it through Google Classroom, and then we're going to focus the remainder of the session on Pear. So I like inserting images. When I do the search the web, what you'll notice here is that a little sidebar opens up of content that provides a Google image search right in your Google Slides, which is really handy. For two reasons. Number one, you and your students don't have to leave Google Slides to go find pictures, copy, paste, etc. The image search and insertion is right here on the right-hand side. So somebody give me an animal. Type the first animal name I see in the group chat will be typed in the search. Zebra. Okay, thank you. All right, nobody put tiger. All right, we're all watching the tiger show, am I right? That's a crazy show. Carol Baskins. Okay, so zebra, platypus, right? All right, so there's a zebra. So very quickly I can click on that image, hit insert, and voila, there it is. So I can resize it, move it around. It's very easy to drag stuff around in Google Slides. So very quickly and easily I can get in pictures. These are copyright-free images. So isn't that nice? Some Carol Baskin fans out in the crowd there. All right, Rob, sticking up for the underdog. Fair enough. She has suffered enough. All right. So I'm just going to delete that. But another way I want to show you how to leverage that, both for you or your students, both, the insert image, is when you insert an image from the camera. So this is a really handy way to, I just turned my own video off, so this is going to work. Watch this. When I go insert an image from camera, you haven't tried this out. This is awesome. So what it does is it loads up your own webcam, and you can, what I love to do is get kids who are working with paper in some way. Maybe they're writing a paragraph. Maybe they have drawn a map or drawn a diagram of something or done some math on paper. It's a wonderful way to digitize this. So they just hold it up right to the camera. Now, if you're having trouble finding that little yellow shutter button to take the picture, fear not, you can use your space bar. So if you want to try this, you just hold this up to here and hit the space bar, and you can just keep hitting the space bar a couple of times and then pick the one you want, which whenever it is the one you want, you just hit insert. It's a really quick and easy way to digitize some stuff. It's not a full-on scan to PDF or anything fancy like that. but it is a way of getting something quickly, which would work really well for things like math, really well for things like drawings, diagrams. Uh, you can bring it in on your page, okay? You can, if you want to crop out the edges, watch what happens when I click. Do you see how this menu up top here changes a little bit when you're clicking on different things? It's kind of a context menu depending on what you're clicking on. So if you have a picture on your page, you'll see some options show up there, okay? One of those options is a cropping image. So watch, now I have these black hard lines and these edges such that I could trim out parts of this picture that I no longer want. And now I'm just left with the part of the picture that I want. Okay, so cropping is really handy. Now let's go back. I think I'll choose platypus this time. Let's say we'll insert an image. Let's do that Google image search again. Let's find that platypus again. So platypus, let's bring in the platypus. There's another feature of that cropping tool that is often, oh, that's a wooden platypus, imagine that. It's not well known, but I'm gonna delete this other picture, but check this out. Yes, you can insert a picture from a document cam, absolutely. You would probably have to have that selected as a camera though. It's a good question, Tara. We'd have to work through some of those logistics. Watch this. Remember the cropping feature where you could take away certain sides? They have crop to shape. Hit the little down arrow next to the crop button, and now we can crop it to all sorts of shapes. Okay, check it out. You want to crop it to a star. Let's choose an 8-sided star. All right, now our platypus is cropped in the shape of a star, and you can change those, okay? So those are really easy to do. Even like speech bubbles, there's all sorts of stuff you can do with this. It's a handy way. Yeah, very easy to do. This works in Google Docs too. So just a little tidbit there. Inserting video. Now there is a straight up Google search right here. So I could do a Google search for whatever I wanted related. If I'm building some slides with content, I can put my videos right in here from YouTube. Now, if you had recorded your own video, let's say you had recorded your webcam from Screencastify in your Google Drive, you can also just pop in things from your Google Drive, video stuff that you had recorded, and you can just pop in that video right into your Google Slides, okay? Very easy. And as soon as you do that, this format options thing opens up. Whether it's a YouTube video or your own video, this format options thing opens up. Now let's say I closed it. You can get it again just by right-clicking on the video and choosing format options. Check it out. I can tell exactly when to start and stop this video. So let's say I've got a 20-minute TED Talk and I only want 3 minutes right in the middle. You can set the exact start and end time that I want, and it'll only, when kids click on that now in the slide, it'll just go to that 3-minute chunk that I had set out. So that is, those are some nice options for video as well. So there's a lot of stuff you can bring in, word art, text boxes. So if you're working with text and you say, click here. So let's say I want to go to a particular website. Let's say I want to go to the ATA library because there are some awesome subject area websites in the ATA library. If I go under subject guides, these are all the tolearn.ca websites that used to be around. Now they're in the ATA library. So let's say I go mathematics grade 4 to 6, and I want to bring this area builder. I want kids to be able to go visit this area builder tool on their computer. I'll just copy that link. And then back in my Google Slides, I can just highlight my text that I want. Now I look for the little link button right there, insert link, or I could just find it in the insert menu. Link, see that? Control K for the keyboard shortcut people in the house. Now I just paste it and apply. So now on my slide, I can click and I can just click that to then open up that website. So very quickly you can see you've got a lot of things at your disposal here where you can start making some lovely, lovely things. The other thing I'll suggest to you is this. In your Google Slides, I'm going to delete some of this stuff here. Don't feel constrained to the size and shape of your slide being a, this rectangle, okay, in portrait mode, sorry, in landscape mode. If you go File, Page Setup, you'll see some different options there. You can go widescreen, standard 4:3, you can customize it. And I could go 8.5 by 11. And now it's the same size and orientation as a piece of paper. So now you can start doing some very cool things when we think about things like, excuse me, some virtual magazine design. Very, very, very easy to do this kind of stuff with students. There are background options and theme options. And by the way, for those of you who would like some ready-made, free, awesome, beautiful themes, check it out. slidesgo.com. There are two sites I really like for this. Rob, I will show you that in one moment. So Slides Go, and I'll just copy and paste it in here. Beautiful, beautiful slide themes. We're going to skip over the COVID-19 theme. Thanks a lot, Slides Go. We're reminded enough. So let's say I like this back to school one. Okay, I click on it. Now see where it says use as a Google Slides theme or download a PowerPoint template? You choose. Whatever floats your boat in terms of slide tool, it'll force you to make a copy. Now you've got your own version of this slide deck and it's saved in your own Google Drive. Now, another website that is similar to Slides Go is Slides Carnival. This is one that I had seen for a couple of years already. Very similar idea. Free, beautiful slide themes. So what you're seeing now is very, very quickly we can make some stuff that looks really, really beautiful. And those are two sites where you can go and get free. And I'm talking free as in beer. Like there's no, as opposed to like freedom of speech, but there's free, no cost for these tools. No cost for these and no hidden agenda as far as I'm aware. You don't have to even have an account. You can just go and get them. I presume there's some sort of advertisements that I don't even see advertisements on this page. To be honest, I don't know how they make their money, but regardless, it's useful for us as teachers. We can use them very quickly and easily in our work. And so to answer Rob's question, what does this look like in presentation mode when it's 8.5 by 11? So there it is. That's how it would look in presentation mode. So you can see why, depending on if you want the full screen of content that you're presenting, maybe that traditional slide mode is better. However, if you are just having kids create multimedia or you want them to view it as sort of a paper orientation, you can change that orientation. So in addition to those themes, there are also just straight up backgrounds. And not only can you choose any color you want or even gradient. Hey everybody, 2006 called, they want their slide gradients back. Regardless, if you like gradients, you can go for that. There's also, you can choose an image to be a background. So that's pretty cool. So I can have just a straight up image that I search from Google. Again, copyright free. So let's say, what should we search for? How about a forest? All right, so I want this to be my slide background. And there it is. Now it's all squished together because it's a, I changed the orientation of the slide, but you see how that works. And then I could just add my text over top of it, and then it's not a picture that's getting moved around. I'd seen some kind of hacks online for some virtual math manipulatives where they were using stuff you don't want kids moving around on the slide to just be that slide background and save it as a picture. So just be aware that those are some of the features in Google Slides. It's just a kind of a quick overview in terms of making your own. But what you're really here for is how can we find, now that we know the capabilities, that's great. I don't have the time. You may not have the time to do this all by yourself. So here are some great sites that you can go to find some of these templates. I'll share with you 2 or 3 different sources here. the good people of Black Gold School Division and Mr. Darren Maltese, who's also super smart and handsome, and he can play the guitar. Who knew? Anyway, he's a really good guy. And he has coordinated a whole bunch of these free templates. So you can either go into anything grade specific, or you can go to shared Google resources here and look. And let me give you an example of some of the stuff you're going to find. I'm going to click on shared Google resource. These are things that are good for K through 12. It could be all multiple different grade levels. So I'm going to go into the general resources. Look at some of this stuff. Magazine, there's National Geographic, both in English and in French. There are maps. There are all sorts of graphic organizers, coins, Canadian coin sorting. What? Check that out. So I can click that open. This happens to be in Google Drawings format. So it's basically like Google Slides, only it's just one slide, okay? So there's money to sort and so on. So it's like, these are awesome things that we can use with our students right away. Here's another one, newspaper template in Google Slides. So we can have kids make their own news article, change the picture out, change the text out to our own text, and now it looks like a newspaper. So why not? Let's do all these things. Now, what you need to know is from sites like Black Gold, anything you see that you like, you open it up. All you need to do is go File, make a copy. And now it's going to be in your Google Drive. And it's your copy that you can do whatever you want. You can modify it. You can share it through Google Classroom. It's up to you. So anything you see, let's say I want a copy of this newspaper. File, make a copy, the entire presentation. And so it doesn't matter if it's slides or drawings. There's even probably some Google Docs templates there. Doesn't really matter. File, make a copy. Fill your loot bag, everyone. It's very easy to do this kind of stuff. Now, if I'm in my Google Classroom, let's say I go into my Google Classroom, how do I get this out to students? Doesn't matter if you use Google Classroom or not, but if you do use Google Classroom, it's really easy to get these things out to your students. You just go into your Google Classroom and go to the classwork section. Okay, let's say I want to make a copy for every student for that newspaper template. Okay, so what you're going to do in your classwork section is create an assignment. And I'll just put that really quickly. I put some really good instructions in there, and then I would add it from my Google Drive, because that's where it is. Remember, I made myself a copy. In fact, it'll even show you copies that don't even belong to you. It'll show you copies that belong to other people that you just looked at, right? Here's the version that I looked at. Here's the copy that I made for myself. So I click it. I want to add it. Now, don't forget, change this to make a copy for every student. Easy peasy. Okay, so right now we've got a whole bunch of hundreds of these templates on the Black Gold site that you can now just make your own copy and then send a copy to each student. And guess what it's going to do? It's going to put the student's name on that particular copy. It's their own as well. You can assign it, or like I like to remind people, choose the schedule post if you want to schedule it to show up on your Google Classroom at a future time. Okay, and then hit that button. Okay, so I'm just going to X out of here. I just won't finish that. But there are some other sites as well. So let's see, did I give you the, yes, I gave you the Black Gold site. Here's another site. This is the Edmonton Catholic School Division, shared Google resources. Now, you need to know that Trish Rothie from Edmonton Catholic, who created most of these templates, and Darren from Black Gold, these guys are literally best friends, and they have shared a lot of resources back and forth. So you're going to see a lot of overlap, but there is also some brand new stuff in here. So you'll see templates in Google Docs, so lots of different ideas there. You'll see some different Google Slides templates. Hey, you want to play Battleship? That's pretty cool. You can do that in Google Slides. There's all sorts of templates in here for student learning, all sorts of templates. Google Drawings we've just talked about, lots of math manipulatives in here, lots of graphic organizers in here. And so some great different templates that have been created that you can, again, just open up, file, make a copy, and now they're yours. One other template I'll share, or document I'll share with you. You can find these in the Edmonton Catholic School Division 1, but this is a particular Google Doc that has some social media templates. So let's imagine that you wanted to have your students create a pretend Instagram post. So this is done through Google Slides. And I don't really want my kids on Instagram in class. And so I could just send them this fake post, and we could be very creative about it. You know, what would this character in this story we read, what kind of post would they put when they were faced with this situation after chapter 2? What would this particular historical figure in government or in history, what would they post if Instagram existed, you know, in at that point in time in history, or what have you? You can get very creative with that, and you know, change out the text, change out the picture, and whatever would be in the post, etc. And so some very clever templates as well. So I've put in the group chat there 3 different, a whole bunch of links so far actually. Now the thing with the links in Zoom, in the group chat, for some of you, they're going to show up as kind of blue underlined hyperlinks that you can click on. It'll open in your window. Some of you, like me, and some of you as well, may find that it's not hyperlinked. And the other thing I've noticed with Zoom in the group chat that I don't know why, I presume it's a security feature, they don't let you copy the text either. So if you try to copy slidesgo.com and paste it in your browser, it's not going to work. But you can just look for the, for example, the engaging students, black gold. You can just do a Google search for it. And if there's anything that you can't remember after the session, just fire me an email. My email address I will type in here, and it's daniel.maas at ata.ab.ca. So fire me an email if there's something you miss, and I'll send you a link back as soon as I can. So those are several different free templates that you can load up on, and then whatever tool you're using, whether it's Google Classroom or otherwise, you can share those links with students such that they can have their own copy and make their own copy and send it back to you. So some pretty neat stuff that kind of takes learning past just with Google Slides as just a presentation, and for more of interaction. And there are lots of great examples from math, from other subject areas as well. And so things like virtual math manipulatives are very common, very handy. So you send a copy to each student, they make their own copy, and they drag around, you know, like that coins, the money sorter. Now, you know, you're giving them a challenge, show this amount of money, and they drag and drag and drag till they make that amount, send it back to you, and you can see what they've learned. So those are some great sites to share. There are also some other, in Google Docs, there are these things called hyperdocs. I'm not sure if you've heard of them. And it's basically Google Docs that have some hyperlinks in them to other web content, as well as some visuals. Oh yeah, as Ken pointed out, don't use pennies anymore. So there are templates from in these hyperdocs from different subject areas. So if I look in some math hyperdocs, what you'll see are some examples of what that could look like. So here is one on, let me find here's multiplication and division. So if you open this up, it's basically like a choice board almost, like a tic-tac-toe choice board. And so it can give links to videos, to games, to some teaching, Khan Academy, various other places where you can learn more. And it's all put in this nice document. So hyperdocs have a lot of these samples that you can use. They even have some of these samples created in slide presentations. So there's a Math 8 hyper slides that have links to a whole bunch of content. And so this will show you kind of what's possible, but it will also, if you were kind of ready to use this and you wanted to learn about transformations, you could just kind of use it right out of the gate. But what I like about hyperdocs, in addition to these, this is under the resources section, they also have templates. So these templates are just blank, where you can fill them in. And here's what it looks like a little closer, so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is the HyperDoc lesson plan template. So you could just change different aspects of this lesson and to match with the lesson you want instead of having to create it right from scratch. Oh, darn it, it's taking a little while to load up here. Looks like we broke the internet in Alberta. There it is. So you can see different aspects of this lesson. So it's a little bit more than just links. They do encourage you to go through a different process and learning process with kids. So it's a way of guiding kids through almost like project work, that type of thing. So check out HyperDocs in addition to all those other shared resources from the different ones that I shared with you. All right, let's move on now, unless there are any burning questions about that part of the session in terms of just generally working with Google Slides or some of those templates. If nobody has any comments or questions on that, then we'll move on to the next part, which is now let's learn a little bit about Pear Deck and what it can do for us in terms of guided learning using slides. All right, so Pear Deck is a tool that will let you it will let you load your own slides in Google Slides or PowerPoint, and will let you add in a whole bunch of interactive elements to those slides and then share them with students. And the two main modes that they have to share with students are, one is sort of a live version. I'm going to do that in a moment. I'll connect you to my slides live if you'd like to join. If you have that split screen going on or want to load up your own browser in a moment, we'll be able to do that. Alternatively, there is a student paced mode. So they can go through that interactivity piece, but they can go through at their own pace. Being that we're working remotely, that might be a better choice for day-to-day learning. But there is an option if you wanted to do, if you're doing any live teaching with groups of kids, and you want to have those interactive elements built into some of that presentation material, there are some tips on how to do that, whether you're using Google Hangouts Meet or any other live video communication tool like this, where you can share your screen and share other things with kids. It's a way of kind of keeping them a bit more focused. So let's dive in. Let's do a little sample so you see what I'm talking about. I have a general presentation here that, let's imagine this were a lesson I wanted to teach with my students. There are two things that you would need to do to start this Pear Deck session right from Google Slides. And one of them is, in fact, you know what? I'm just going to run this session first, and then we'll do the how-to, because I think it's good for you just to wrap your head around what even is Pear Deck. So just so you're aware, there is an add-on for Pear Deck. And when it's installed, what you'll see happen, bear with me, just reload that one. So when I hit Pear Deck now, it's part of my Google slide. You see that? Is it free? Yes and no. There's a free version, and the sort of the premium version right now is free while people are. I think they give you like a 3-month free trial while we're all working remotely. And I don't know the cost after that. I've used the free version for a couple of years here and there, but I've never bought anything. So everything I'm going to show you today is free, at least for now. So I've opened this thing here, and basically what I can do with my slides, I've loaded up my slides, I can either just present them to students, but if I want to add any interactive elements, check it out. I can add in places where they can add text, where they can make a choice, where I can embed a website onto my slides for them, where they can draw, where they can drag stuff around. Okay, there are also a whole bunch of sample templates, critical thinking, creativity. There's lots of different templates made up. But let's just roll with this here. So we're going to do a live session right now. I'm starting a lesson and it gives me the choice. Do I want to do something instructor-paced, which is live, or do we want to do something student-paced? So because we're live right now, and you could theoretically do this live with students if you're doing any live teaching with your students. I'm going to demonstrate this instructor-paced, okay? All right, so here's how this works. What you guys are going to do, I'm going to log in. Okay, great. It's logging me into my Google account. Here's what's going to happen. You are going to go to a website and you're going to enter in a code, and then you'll be connected to my Pear Deck session. Does that make sense? So it is going to be, I believe the website is called joinpd.com. All right, so while it loads up, we're going to visit joinpd.com. And in a moment, it's going to show a join code. There it is. So if you visit joinpd.com and then type in this 5-digit code, VITVO. So I see one person, two person. There are some people connecting. It's up to you whether you want to do this. If you want to just kind of watch, but this will kind of show you what it looks like from the student side. If you feel like digging in, what you'll get is the student view, okay? So we've got 15, 16, holy, 20 people. This is great. So I'll just give you a moment. Joinpd.com. PD stands for Pear Deck, of course. So joinpeardeck.com, and then it randomly creates this 5-letter code. All right. Anybody else still want to get in? There's also a join lesson in the Pear Deck. Thank you, Tara. If you just visit peardeck.com, it'll say join. All right, we're up to 32, 33. I don't imagine all 60 of you want to connect, but you never know. So I'll give it another few seconds. Let's see here. Looks like everybody who's wanted to join is, oh, we're up to 34. Just when I hit start, somebody be like, wait. Oh man, meanwhile, the rest of you, is there a way to see who has joined before you start? Oh, very good question. You will be able to see that once you hit continue. I'm not seeing the list of students here. I suppose I could open that teacher dashboard, but it's not showing me the names of the students right here yet. All right, so here's how it works. So you should see on your screen right now, if you've joined, you should see this particular slide. So as I go to the next slide, so will you be able to go to the next slide. Now, this one is a slide that I have set up for you where I can, I presented a question. In this case, it is, should each student be provided with a Chromebook in Alberta as part of their basic materials? Fully agree, fully disagree. Where do you fall on that continuum? And you can drag your star to whatever point you want. And so far I've got 30 out of 41 responses. It's showing me 33, 37, 38. All right, come on, 2 more. So what I can do at any point in time is I can go show responses. And here's where everybody's responses fell. So we can now, oh, check it out. You're seeing people live, people are moving theirs around. It's all very interactive. And so now when I click on show responses, this is what it is showing. Okay, now I can also check this out. I'm going to choose a lock screen button. Okay, don't get mad, everybody. I'm going to hit lock screens. Now you can't move your screen. How do you feel about that? Teachers probably don't like that very much, but as a teacher, it might be I've unlocked your screen now. But so we could have a debate about this. And then we could say, after we've had our debate, has your opinion changed or is it the same? And then we give them a chance to move again and so on. So there's lots of good fun you can have. Okay, thank you. Students can join midstream. Thank you for that. It usually does show on many of these things here, it does show where that, it usually keeps that join code up there. We don't see the responses like you do. Correct, you don't. I have this projector view that shows everybody's response. And so that's where you as the teacher would show that. If you're in your classroom, it's up on your classroom computer. And if it's students at home, I'm not sure what that would look like from a, if you went student-paced. view. So, and I'm also not sure how, if it is student-paced, not live like this, whether the students would ever be able to see what everybody else chose. So now I'm going to go on to the next one, and it's going to force you to go on there. Now I'm saying explain your choice from the previous slide. And so what you should see now in your box is a place to type. And if I just click into show responses, check it out. This is, you can see people typing live here. Okay, there's a whole bunch of these choices. So I'm just going to go hide for now. Hide the responses for now. At least I thought I was going to choose hide responses. Alrighty. So you can see different people typing. So this is, I've done 2 of these different, you saw there were 5 or 6 different response types, okay? And whoops, sorry, I've locked your screen, so let me unlock that. And so you could keep typing if you've really felt like it, but then we could have those responses and I could show them as a teacher. Now there is a way, before we go any further, what I'll also tell you is there is a way with this premium version, after we're finished this session, where I can send you, yes, there are names on here. So I can, I thought there were names. Oh, on my teacher dashboard, this is something you don't see. This is my presentation screen. It does show me who has said what, right? So that piece is there. It just doesn't show it on that, on the kind of the screen for everybody to see. So that's a little teacher dashboard, they call it. So that's an option you have as well to see. But I wouldn't show that on my screen to students. This is just for me to see, okay? So on we go through this slide deck, and I can keep going. Now, what's also cool is right on the fly, let's say somebody has asked a really great question. At any point in time, I can add a new prompt right on the fly. So I'm just going to hit new prompt here and check it out. There's all sorts of sweet different responses. There are stress checks, beginning of class, during class, end of class, how are you feeling? Or this one I like, draw or type 2 things you learned. This is a really great one. So you'll probably see this up here now. So right on the fly. Yes, that is okay, FOIP-wise. What you might want to do is I would recommend, Caroline, that you inform parents before you start to use a tool like this. Just say, hey, this is a tool, Pear Deck. We're going to be using it to try to add some elements of interactivity, or when I'm doing live lessons to keep the focus on. Here's the privacy policy that they have. It's very educational, safe, etc. And if you have any concerns with this, let me know. Okay, so I'll show you some examples of the sort of drawn responses. Go Riders. Who wrote that? Go Riders. Well, it's not Mirage. So he would be drawing a Flames jersey, I'm sure, right now. So there's lots of things. I haven't looked at these in advance, so geez, this could go horribly wrong if you're doing this live without looking. But rest assured, I do see on my teacher dashboard, I can see these responses coming in, and so I can see them before I show them to the other students. So that would be an option. Here's a response. Here's a response from somebody that has a typed words instead of drawn. Okay, so that is in a nutshell how this tool works. So it's pretty easy to get started. I'm just going to go end session. Okay. I'm going to end the session. Let's name it. I'll call it 2020. Whoops. I'll call it 2020 0406 student-centered learning. I'll just go 2020 0406 ATA PD session. Now, see this button here? Publish student takeaways. Being that you logged in with your Google for Education account, what this is going to do is it's going to send you a copy of your responses. And it's pretty cool. So it's going to just ask me for permission. It's going to need to get into my Google Docs to do that. It's going to send you a Google Doc that will include some of your student takeaways. Okay. Now I can share that takeaway either as a link. It should have just come to you, but I could theoretically share those right on Google Classroom. So if I just went share to Google Classroom, I could say, I'll just put it in this one, and I'll create a material. Check out our takeaways from this lesson, and you'll see what they look like. Did anybody receive theirs through email yet? I don't know if you have your email open. What does create material mean? So what material means, Julie, is more of if you want to share just a thing, an assignment is where you want something back from students. But if you don't, if you just want to create something that's just like a notice or share a one-way push of content would be what a material is. You want to send them a video, send them a file, send them a website, but you don't need them to do an activity. So here's those takeaways. I'm going to just click that, and it will, let's see if this, I don't know if this will work for me because I'm the teacher. I may not have had takeaways, but this will work for you. And then when you click on it in your email or through Google Classroom now, it will show you what that looks like. And if I go into my Google Drive, those takeaways are in Google Docs in my Google Slides, or sorry, in my Google Drive. Okay, and here's where they are. Let me find a folder called Pear Deck. Here it is. Takeaways. Here's the presentation that I had given. Here it is. Here are the different takeaways. So let's just see here. There's Rogerio's. There is another person's, Sarah's. There's Caroline's, Chantel's. Well, let me just, I'm going to open this, but let me just bring it over into this other window. I want to make sure there's nothing private here. Sherry Litsky, what do you think about me sharing this with people? No pressure, just to show you what it looks like. Would you be okay with that, or would you prefer not? Sorry to put you on the spot, Sherry. Oh, Caroline, I can show yours. Okay, good. So let me just see where, so it's making these right away here. Let's see, where's Caroline's? Here it is. So here's what it looks like. So if there were any parts that were typed in there, I go onto the different slides, and remember her response to that continuum. And here was her typed answer. So it's just a takeaway. It gives it back to the student, so the student knows. You could even copy that link and email it to parents and say, here's how your child contributed in today's lesson. That would actually be a pretty good motivator to keep kids on task, right? It's like, oh, kids, I'm sending this to your parents, so make sure you're on point here today. This might be something good. So that is what the takeaways are. Now, how do we do this? Well, here's how you do it. First thing, some nice kind feedback from our fellow people. Here's what I did. I first went into my Google Slides. If you want to get rolling with this yourself, there's kind of two main ways you can kind of start with these presentations. One is through Pear Deck itself, and the other way to do it is through Google Slides. You can start either way, and it's just kind of whatever you prefer. I'm going to just do it through Google Slides just so you see it that way. So here was that slide deck that I had created. And what I did was I had to go to a place called add-ons, and I had to first install the Pear Deck add-on because it showed up. Remember, it showed up on the right side of the screen there? Here's how we get that. I'm going to go add-ons, get add-ons. So you have to go into the add-ons menu of your Google Slides and go get add-ons. And then what'll happen is it's like a little mini app store just for Google Docs. Here it is, Pear Deck for Google Docs. So there it is right there. You would just click that and you would install and that add-on. Oh, install disabled by admin. Interesting. So it's possible that your IT department has disabled add-ons for Google Slides. You may want to talk to your IT and just say, hey, you know, give it in light of this. This may be a setting they did 5 years ago to prevent kids from adding certain things on. So that's something to talk to your IT department about. See if they're willing, and they may have a good reason for not. But or they could even just whitelist things like this Pear Deck add-on. So you would need, if you wanted to go start with your, you don't have to have this add-on, Caroline. You could just start through Pear Deck and do it that way. So let's imagine that this thing is in there. Then once it is, I click on this Pear Deck. It now adds a new menu to my slides. So I just go any place in my own slides that I've created, and I can turn any one of my current slides. I can add one of these question types. See, text, choice, number, website, draw, draggable. So that's a current website, current slide that I have already. I had made this slide about the continuum already. I just used the line tool and I dragged it and I put some words here. But then when I click on draggable, then it turned it into, then Pear Deck is going to recognize it and puts this little, added this little part to the bottom of my slide. Now, if you don't want it on your slide, if you want a new thing, remember when I had that other one that asked kids to tell 2 things what they learned? That is one of their templates. So look at this where it says up above that, it says template library. Beginning of lesson, during lesson, end of lesson, critical thinking, social and emotional learning, example questions, littles, grades K to 2, math, science, social, world languages, ELA. Does anybody have a preference? Somebody type in something for either beginning, during, end, or critical thinking, science, someone said. Let's see what they are. So there's a periodic table of elements here. There is a drawing of atoms. There's a text slide. There's a drawing slide. There is a draggable slide. So here's, I'll show you the draggable slide. Yeah, so you can check these out too. So I'm just, it's basically gonna now be adding in a new slide into my slide deck here. Okay, so just bear with me here. Here it comes. And you can just change the pictures in here to whatever you want, and then it'll just be a dot. So you could just change any of the pictures that are in here. This is the picture currently. I could just delete it, put whatever I want in there. Okay, if I want a different picture, and then give the question that would kind of indicate that drag and drop thing. So let me go back. Somebody else said littles, please. All right, let's see what some of the little ones are. All right, check this out. This is good for adding in specific letters. So I don't know if this is going to be a great example, if you're going to like this or not. So basically something like, you know, adding in the missing letter, things like that. So this is a drawing slide. This is just one example of how you can use these drawing slides to have the kids draw whatever they want. And by the way, this works on an iPad or a phone. So if they're loading this Pear Deck session from their phone, they can just be using the inking pieces to add stuff in from ink. So very easy to do from this Pear Deck add-on. And then whenever you're ready, you just hit Start Lesson. And again, instructor pace or student pace. So I can click student pace this time. Let's say I want kids to go through at their own pace. Now it's going to give me an option here very shortly as it slurps in my PowerPoint or my slide presentation in and gets ready for this session. It'll give me a link that I can post in my, whatever my LMS is. So if you're in Calgary CVE right now and you want to use D2L Brightspace, cool. You can use, there's a link there you can paste in. If you are using Microsoft Teams, Pear Deck has an awesome Microsoft Teams. All right, good times. Live TV here, everybody. This didn't seem to work for whatever reason, but we'll give it another try. Okay. All right, that worked. So it's in student paste mode. Here's the copy link. Here's a share to classroom. It's got that Google Classroom integration. So all I need to do is pop this into my Google Classroom, and now students can go through wherever it asks them for that integration. Instead of me advancing their slides live, now they go through at their own pace, okay? So I basically pick which class and it can just publish it there. But basically that's all you need to know about Pear Deck. I'll just give you a few more links here before our session ends, just to kind of get you started. So this is just generally www.peardeck.com. There is if you want to unlock the free version for 90 days, then you go to this website, peardeck.com/stay-connected. And then you're basically going to hit instant individual access, and now you've got the premium version for 90 days. And it'll give you some more information here, okay? Now, I recommend another place you go to is, they have a whole resources section, but what I want to focus you on are the templates. So peardeck.com/templates. This is where all those little ones were, and the science and critical thinking, etc. Here's where all these templates are. So my advice to you is this: starting off simple, find some slide presentation that you want to share with students, and then either using that add-on for Google Slides here, where you have it show up on the right-hand side, add one or two interactive elements, just something simple. Or if you aren't able to add that add-on, like a couple of you, when I go to teacher login, you'll see just the different interface here. Very easy. It has integrated with my Google Drive already. I can choose a prompt, but look, if I have a file to present from my Google Drive, I'll just go this way. I don't need the add-on for Google Slides. I'll just load it up here, and it'll say, do I want to start a student-based mode or start a live session? And then I can go ahead and share that out with students, okay? Yeah, the chat text doesn't seem to copy. I don't know why. Is it hyperlinked, Darren, in the chat? If it is for some people and it's not for other people. So if it is highlighted blue, you can click on it, it'll open. If it's not, you'll just have to, unfortunately, just type it in. But fire me an email and I'll hook you up. Now, before we go, I should also show you in this Pear Deck app, the sessions, because I want to see some stuff after the fact as a teacher. We're almost out of time. But let me just go into the one that we just did. There were 40 some students live, and I'm going to go into the teacher dashboard. And I can go in and I can see a few more details about that session. And so that will be a way of me finding out more of those specific responses students gave. Now, I would use this more as sort of that formative assessment piece. I'm not going to keep any grades in Pear Deck. There really aren't any grades in Pear Deck. I wish there were. I haven't seen a really nice way to be able to see like a nice report from that, which spits back like nice graphs of my students' responses or things like that. But that is possible that that does exist. So I'm just going to end this session. Let's see if that does it. Takeaways. Well, there were the takeaways. And look at that. Once I've closed the session, I can actually export to a spreadsheet. And now it'll give me everything that my students contributed during that session into one single spreadsheet. So quick question, Rogers asked, do the students need to add the Pear Deck under their Google Slides? Nope, they do not. Just you, the teacher. So that is all the kids need to do. is just click on the link, because you're going to probably share it in Google Classroom. They just click on the link, or if you have them live with you teaching, they could also type in joinpd.com and then enter the code. So that's about all I've learned about Pear Deck thus far. You run a teacher paste and a student, and the students miss it. You can turn it into student paste. Yes, you can go from that live mode. I had the option at any point there in the lower right-hand corner in that live session, I could have turned it on to student paste mode. So I'm guessing that would then allow those students who weren't able to participate live to go through it at their own pace. Now, I don't know what that would do to the kids who have actually gone to that session live. If we give them another crack at it, that part I don't know the answer to, Tara. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you all. I know I've got you a couple minutes overtime here, so thank you so much. I'd love an email with those links. Will do, sir, as soon as we hit stop here. So thank you very much. Before we go, Ken Hackstall, if anything that you wish to share in terms of new things happening or anything like that from ARPDC?